Hey guys, welcome to Mix with Varti. Today we'll be talking about leveling your mix. It sounds pretty straightforward, but it is the most important thing when it comes to mixing a track. Your track or someone else's track, the first thing that a mixing engineer does is level their mix. And what do I mean by leveling your mix? Basically, something that you naturally do. You hear like the hi-hat's too loud, you lower it. You're not hearing bass, you raise your bass. I'm just talking about basic type of volume control. And why are we making a video about this? Because it's the most important thing in mixing. Get your levels right, and then you fine tune and you mix everything else. And again, why are we making a video about this? Because I'm going to show you guys a technique that will allow you to properly level your tracks pretty quickly with using a specific type of reference trick that kind of reassures you that what you're hearing might actually be the answer you're looking for in terms of leveling your music, your tracks. So I'm going to talk to you guys about that. And the reason why having a trick to reference to is important, because we're humans. You might be in rooms that we don't capture the sound properly. We're not hearing exactly what's being projected. We might wake up on days where we feel tired or our head's a bit cloudy, and I don't know, we're emotionally not right that day, and all this really influences how you hear a track, and hearing a track often is an emotional experience, even if you're working on it technically. So let's jump into Ableton, and I'll quickly show you guys my very basic, simple technique, which I think you will love because I love. So here's a new track I've quickly created. It's different from the two other tracks in the previous videos. Let's quickly hear what it sounds like. Okay, so we see there's a kick, there is a full bass groove, there is a hi-hat, and there are plucks that are creating this rhythmic vibe. Now, I didn't want to complicate this tutorial by having too much going on. I just want to show you four main sounds going on. How do I level my mix here? This is so important to do this in these two steps, because it's kind of one of them. The first step you go through, you will have a very quick and proper way of leveling your mixes. The second step you'll do is that trick that I was talking about, where you'll be able to kind of double check to make sure what you're hearing is proper, and you're actually taking the right decisions while you're mixing your tracks. So step one, let's mute all the groups. See, I muted the plugs, the drums, and the bass, and let's start with the kick. Now to this, I want to add the bass. So now you might ask yourself, is the bass loud? Is the bass not loud? Let me just go and kind of level this by ear, what I think is right. Now I kind of like this for now. Remember, these volumes will change down the line when you start adding new elements. For now, it's the kick and bass relationship. I like the way the kick and bass sound. So I'll leave it at -4.3. Now let's add the hi-hat. Hi-hat seems a bit tucked. I like my hi-hats a bit more present, more in your face. A bit on the obnoxious end. So let's raise it. Yeah, so I kind of like where it is, and let's look at the plucks. So I kind of like the way it sounds. So I've done a quick leveling, and it's fairly straightforward. Now step two, this is the important part. What other steps can you take to kind of make this process even a bit more, not I want to say fail safe, but at least make a kind of a double check whether these levelings that you've done, which sounded good to you then, do they still sound good to you? So a cool way of doing this is as simple as the step two, you do it in two steps. So we'll start off with the bass sound, and we'll completely drop it to 0 and let the track play, and slowly raise it up without looking at the screen. Don't look at the dB that's going on here. You don't care what this number is. Just look away, press play, and slowly raise it up, and you're just focusing on your ears, on the music. And when you feel like the bass is loud enough or you're comfortable with it, with everything in it, stop and look at what volume it's at. We'll do this and I'll explain the second step of it. So we'll drop it to minus infinity. I'm going to press play and I'm going to slowly raise it without looking at the volume. So there's no bass, I'm slowly raising it. I kind of like this. Now you look at the volume. It's minus 4.7. Now we do the reverse. So keep this number in mind, minus 4.7. We raise it up to a very loud volume and we slowly drop it down to see where it's comfortable. I kind of like this volume. Now looking at it, it's minus 2.8. So minus 4.7, minus 2.8, what's the average of that number? It's minus 3.7 about. And this is a kind of way to kind of double check your leveling overall. You could do this quickly with every single instrument. Now let's do it for the drums, the hi-hat basically. I like this volume. It's minus 6.8. Let's do the reverse. I like this. Minus 4.6, so it's about minus 5.6 about. It's just the average. So you could do this with pretty much all your instruments, and it's kind of double checking your work. And it's interesting because you sometimes realize that some of your sounds, the average that you get for some of your sounds is what you had initially leveled your mix to, but some other things you realize, oh wow, shit, I like my hi-hats a bit louder. When we look at numbers, our brain works a bit differently versus not looking at numbers and just feeling the music and how you want that instrument to sit in your mix. So guys, this was as simple as that. It's pretty straightforward, but it's such an important part in getting your levels right before you really start processing and mixing and adding a lot of complicated plugins to your overall mix. So once again, let me know if you guys have any questions and any topics you'd like me to talk about in the future, and subscribe to my channel if you've enjoyed this video. Cheers.